Okay, so have you ever heard of something called self-citation? It's when a researcher cites their own previous work in a new paper. Kind of sounds like a scholarly selfie, right? A little bit self-promoting. But what if I told you that this whole practice has a surprising, and I mean really surprising connection to termites? Yeah, you heard me right. Let's dig into this because it's pretty wild.
So for the longest time, self-citation has had this bad rap in the academic world. The big question has always been, is it just vanity? A way to puff up your own numbers? Or is there actually something more strategic, maybe even beneficial, going on here?
So let's just cut right to the chase. Is this a scholarly sin? Is it something researchers should feel guilty about? Or could it be that we've been looking at it all wrong?
Yeah, the common wisdom, the gut feeling for a lot of people is pretty negative. They see it as pure vanity, a researcher trying to make their work look more important than it really is by inflating their own citation stats. It's definitely viewed with a whole lot of skepticism. And look, this isn't just some vague idea. This quote is pulled directly from the paper we're looking at today. The researchers actually started from that exact assumption, the idea that if you cite yourself more, you'll probably get fewer citations from everyone else. That was a hypothesis. But the answer they found was completely the opposite of what they expected. And the key to understanding why comes from a place you would never, ever guess: a termite mound. The whole idea hinges on this concept called stigmergy. It sounds really academic, but it's simple. It was coined back in 1959, and all it means is that one action leaves a trace on the environment, and that trace itself tells the next person or insect what to do. It's a way to coordinate without ever talking to each other. So just picture how termites build those insane, complex mounds. There's no termite architect with a little blueprint, right? It all starts with one termite leaving a scented mud pellet. That scent, that's the trace. It basically shouts, "Hey, build here," to the next termite, who then adds their own pellet, and then another, and another. And from all these tiny, independent actions, this massive, incredible structure just emerges. No boss, no plan. So, here's the leap. Could it be that researchers are basically just termites in lab coats? It sounds a little funny, but the study we're digging into makes that exact, fascinating analogy. And check out how well the parallel works. Termites change their physical world with little mud pellets. Researchers change the intellectual world with papers. Termites are guided by the structure they're already building. Researchers are guided by their own past research. And in both cases, you get this huge, complex thing, a termite mound or a body of scientific knowledge, built without any single leader calling all the shots. Okay, so if we're going to run with this termite analogy, what does it actually tell us about self-citation? Does leaving your own little intellectual pellets, your previous papers, actually encourage other people to come and build on your work? Well, the study decided to put that to the test. But here's the problem. Measuring scientific impact is super messy. I mean, look at this chart. A paper's citations can shoot up, then drop off, then spike again years later. It's totally unpredictable. There is so much noise in the data. So the real challenge for the researchers was figuring out how to cut through all of that static. How could they possibly isolate one specific action, citing your own work, and see if it had a real, measurable effect on everything else? The way they did it was actually pretty clever. They basically decided to treat every single research paper like a little system with inputs and outputs. The inputs are all the papers it references. The outputs are all the citations it gets from other scholars later on. The whole goal was to see if changing the inputs would change the outputs. And that led them to this really clean, direct comparison. They pitted two kinds of inputs against each other. On one side, you've got self-references, citing your own stuff. On the other side, non-self-references, citing literally everyone else. The question was simple: which one does a better job of getting you cited by other people down the line? And the answer they found was stunningly clear. Self-references had a positive impact on getting more citations from others, and it was statistically significant. But citing other people, all those non-self-references, there was no measurable relationship at all. It didn't seem to make a difference. So not only does it have a positive effect, they actually put a number on it. And get this, for every single time a paper cited itself, it was associated with an average increase of about 11 more citations from other people. That is a massive and completely counterintuitive finding. But hold on, before you go thinking that self-citation is some kind of magical cheat code for academic fame, the researchers are really quick to point out that this is far, far from the whole story. In fact, when they ran their full model, they found that all of this referencing stuff, including citing yourself, only explains about 19% of a paper's success. The huge majority, over 80%, is driven by a bunch of other factors.
So, what's in that other giant slice of the pie? Well, the paper borrows another term from the termite world and calls it peripheral stimulation. This is all the other stuff. How prestigious the journal is, the author's reputation, how trendy the topic is, how well-written the paper is, even the university someone works at. All of that stuff actually plays a much bigger role.
So when you put it all together, self-referencing isn't the cause of success, it's more like a signal. It's a way of telling other researchers, hey, this paper isn't a one-off, it's part of a deep, long-term research program. It shows you've built a solid foundation, a little intellectual mound, if you will. And that makes other people see your work as credible and worth building on themselves.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. If building the entire cathedral of human knowledge is really like thousands of independent scientists, like termites, each adding their own little piece, what does that say about our romantic myth of the lone genius who changes the world in a single flash of insight? Maybe, just maybe, science is less about a sudden bolt of lightning and a lot more about just leaving a good trail of pellets for the next person to follow.